Hey all, welcome back. Today we are going to be going over my March wrap-up. I finished 6 books and I was in the middle of 2 others. And so one was at the very beginning that I DNF'd and the other one I just haven't finished yet. But I'm so close to the end that I'm gonna end up finishing it at some point. So up first, this was one that I picked up and I started and I just never finished, which is Project Hail Mary by Weir. This was one, I don't know if it was the way that it started out, how it was playing out. I didn't know much going into it, but I did hear such good reviews about it that I wanted to give it a go. But because we have 2 different timelines going, we have the present and the past. So Project Hail Mary is an entity that our main character is working on. And so he has woken up without any memory. And so he's trying to figure out, oh, what's real? What do I know? Who am I? Like when he woke up, he had absolutely no recollection of anything. And slowly but surely started remembering who he was, what he did, what he knows, who he knows, where he was, things like this. And so, but we're also getting a timeline of when Project Hail Mary was in the process of coming off the ground. And so we were kind of getting both timelines, and I don't know if it was just the way that because I also listened to it on audiobook. I had found a recording of it on YouTube, but I went back to continue and couldn't find it. It got taken down. And so I didn't have the opportunity to finish, and I don't know if I was just in a weird spot or whatever. I couldn't for the life of me continue Project Hail Mary. I don't know if it was just the way it was progressing, or because I've done with 2 timelines or 2 different perspectives, but I don't know. So I may or may not come back to Project Hail Mary. I got far enough to where he knew who he was, he knew where he was, he knew why he was where he was. So I guess after that I was just gonna try to figure out, he was just figuring out some other details, and I just, for the life of me, I couldn't grasp on. And honestly, it was at the very beginning of March, so I don't even know how far I got into it, because even the physical one I was reading came from the library, so I can't even look to see how far I got. But I still wanted to talk about it because I did try to read it. So our next book that I read was Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And guys, I absolutely loved Bride. It was so good. I rated it 5 stars. It was my very first 5-star read of 2024 too. And so much praise to Bride right now. It is also my very first Ali Hazelwood book. I haven't read her STEM series. I haven't read Chicken Mate. So this is my very first Ali Hazelwood book. And so now I'm interested in her other material, just because I know that this was different from the rest of her stuff. But I'm curious if the writing style is similar, just because I found this to be so good. The banter, the sarcasm. Misery Lark is our female who's a vampire, and then our male Weir lead is Lo Moreland. And what's cool about the 2 of them is we pretty much start with their wedding, and come to find out it is an arranged marriage that Misery accepted. And so the goal is, because the vampires and the Weirs are like mortal enemies, and somewhere in the middle there's humans, and so they decided to do this pair-up marriage to forge an alliance between the 2 people. And so first off, Misery just in general is a sarcastic one, and I absolutely love it. And so the banter that starts to ensue between Misery and Lo is absolutely adorable. I even, annotated I annotated a little bit. A lot of it was the banter. Some of it was just storyline. And it was just so stinking cute. And something about like, and it's also an adult novel, so there was a lot of adult themes. Like it was very detailed. It had some other details that made it adult. And just the relationship, and also so funny, first off, just the slow burn of the two of them, and then like when they were talking, doing like the sex scenes and stuff, trying to figuring out like, oh, there was one where it's like it's a Weir thing that Lil was trying to explain to Misery, and it's just I found the two of them to be absolutely phenomenal. And this is one of those, can we get a low in our lives, please? Because he was a stellar book boyfriend. And so I absolutely loved it. Absolutely recommend. High on my list. Favorite book of March is right here. So, after Bride, I listened to The Maid by Nita Prose. This is a very quick read. It's a mystery. And what the Maid is about, this maid named Molly who works at a hotel, and she, in one of her, and what's really interesting, I'll preface, is that Molly is a character who has autism, and I loved the portrayal of Molly. Nita did a very good job portraying Molly. And so Molly is a maid at this really high-end hotel. And what's really interesting about it is that, of course, they have all of their high attendees, the ones that pay all the money to stay and stay regularly, like your premier people. And she comes in for one of her normal days, normal cleans, and ends up finding one of the hotel residents dead in his bed. And so the story then follows Molly and the before, during, and after of following the cops and the detectives to find out what really happened. What did Molly experience? What did others see? And I found it to be a very good portrayal of autism, and I loved Molly's character. But in the story itself, I found very like cut and dry. I ended up rating it 2 stars. I saw the entire thing coming. Nothing seemed new to me. There was a lot of repeat of information, but I understand that there was also a lot of repeat just because of Molly's point of view. She's very detail oriented. And so, but we also get a lot of details multiple times because it's coming from her point of view. And there's just something about, like, I don't know if it was the repetitiveness or just the cut and dryness of it that was just throwing me off. And it was a quick read. I don't have a problem with it being quick. It took me 3 days to listen to, but there was just something about it. It didn't catch me. So I did, like I said, I rated it a 2-star, but like I said, it cut and dry. It had all of your classic points. It was not my favorite read. But I do commend Nita for the portrayal of Molly. During that, I finished, as I started The Maid and finished Bride, I then went and picked up Tom Felton's book, Beyond the Wand. It's Tom Felton's memoir, and I found this absolutely wonderful. Now, I did not rate this because it is his memoir. It is his story. I'm not gonna rate somebody's story because it's theirs. I don't find a reason to rate memoirs. Now, nonfiction books I could rate. I don't read nonfiction, really. I think the closest I ever got to nonfiction is memoirs. I have 4. So, I absolutely enjoyed this. I had such a joy learning about Tom before Potter, during Potter, and after Potter. It goes through his life since he started. I mean, he talks about his family. He talks about some movies that he did. because he did a movie called The Borrowers, as well as a TV, I'm gonna take this off, TV film, not a TV film, an ad. He did an ad in New York before his Potter days. So I wanted to show you guys the spine. I actually loved it. It's purple and it's shiny, and it's actually really cool. And what I like about it is that he's got a set of pictures in here. This is beginning of his life. So we've got like family, we have early days. That's the ad he did in New York. He was always talking about how he thinks he got mistaken for Macaulay Culkin because it was back during the Home Alone days. And then he did the movie that he did prior to Potter is called The Borrowers, so he had some pictures from them, and then just some other Potter related and non-Potter related pictures. It was like really, really cute. And then at the end he had some later pictures, like he had some pictures from the third movie. We've got these from later in his life. He ended up developing this really cool friendship with Emma Watson. And so he did West End as well. And so Emma Watson actually did his foreword, and it is absolutely beautiful. Love his foreword by Emma Watson. She did a fantastic job. The friendship between the two of them is magnificent. And so I really enjoyed learning about Tom's life. And so whether you like Harry Potter or not, if you are familiar with Tom Felton, I do recommend, if you're a Harry Potter fan, I recommend his memoir, but like if you're a Harry Potter fan, I think you'll get a good joy out of reading his book. So I read that. And then my next book that I read was the Jasad Heir by Sara Hashem. This book took me a week. It was 515, or I think my Kindle version is 515 pages. I know like the hard copy I think is 536. And so I ended up reading this one over spring break, because otherwise I probably would have gotten it done in 2 weeks had it not been spring break. And so this was a good read. I did enjoy it. I rated it 3 stars. It is high fantasy, low romance. There is a small romance line between our 2 main characters, but not much. And there is going to be a sequel, so there's going to be more. And so the Jasad Heir follows this girl by the name of Sylvia, and she is currently living her life. She's a ward to a woman along with some other girls, as well as a chemist apprentice to an older gentleman. And so a big festival comes about, and she ends up getting into ties with what's called the Nizal Heir. It's one of the people. The Nizal Heir picks her as his champion to participate in these games that are coming up, that are going to follow this big event that's currently taking place. And so what we end up finding out is Sylvia she's a long lost heir to the Jasad throne. Now, the way that the kingdom is set up is that there were 4 groups of people, including Jasad, as well as like this enemy group, the Nizal. And so this event came to pass called the Blood Summit, and this was 10 years prior to current events was the Blood Summit. And so it was told that the entire kingdom was wiped out. There are very few Jasads that remain and have to hide in the area, because Jasad is also known for its magic. Those who come from Jasad have magic, whereas the other people do not. And so Sylvia survived, and of course Sylvia was not her original name. It's how she was able to escape, not be known. I mean, she still has to watch herself and how she communicates and goes about life to not be discovered as the Jasad Heir. And so she ends up becoming the champion to the Nizal Heir, and so she has to be very careful about how she talks to him, communicates, holds herself to try to throw him off the fact that she is an heir to a throne. And not only that, but the heir to his arch nemesis's throne. And so it pretty much follows the two of them through, I think it's like 2 or 3 months, through the rest of the events of these games. And so I found it very cool. It took me, I felt like it's at some point I was gonna slow down a little bit, but it came out real nice. High fantasy. I absolutely loved the world that Sara Hashem created. I'm excited to read the sequel. There were just something about the length of this one in particular, and just like, there were just like a few like minor things that brought it down to a 3-star. I do still recommend it, and it is pure high fantasy, and it is great. After the Jasad Heir, I needed a fantasy break. Jasad Heir was a lot for me. And so it took a lot out of me mentally. And so I had to kind of change pace. And so I went into romance. And I picked up Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Better Than the Movies became my second 5 stars book of 2024. And not only that, I had 2 in 1 month. That is fantastic. Loved that. And so actually I was recommended Better Than the Movies by Alexa Ray. I watched Alexa Ray did a vlog where she read Better Than the Movies, and I couldn't get over her reaction to the book and her process reading this one. So I had to go pick it up. And of course I then read it not long after picking it up. I think I only got it like a month ago. Anyway, I annotated this one as well, and just it's a classic romance. It's seniors in high school, and pretty much we follow Liz, who's our female, who finds out that her childhood love has returned to town. He left a while back and returned during their senior year of high school. And so it then becomes her goal to get in a relationship with him and go to prom with him. Like, she sees this guy Michael as her one true love, her movie love. And she loves the classic rom-coms and romance movies, because that's what her and her mom watched growing up, and they just became a big part of her life. But in order to get to Michael, she needs the help of her next door neighbor Wes. She always saw Wes as like this nuisance, Wes and Liz are next door neighbors, but Liz always found him to be a nuisance, but needs his help to get into contact and the circles with Michael. What they didn't plan, and for some odd reason he agrees to help her, and along the way they end up developing this really cute relationship. And so they end up learning more about each other, because Liz was always like, why does everybody like Wes? He's just like this big pain in the butt. And then she actually gets to spend quality time with Wes and get to know Wes, and it's just absolutely beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. Highly recommend. So, and then after Better Than the Movies, sorry, I've got Goodreads right here with my list. I then listened to, in the process of reading this, I also listened to Secretly Yours by Tessa Baily. This was another book that I rated 3 stars. It's a classic romance. It was a really cute setup, because it's called Secretly Yours, our main character, Hallie, is our girl, and she is a gardener and gets hired at a prestigious family's house in her area called the Voss family. And she's doing their yard, and the son comes home from out of state, and he's writing a book. He is taking some time away from his job as a college history professor, and ends up getting into tangles with Hallie, because of course he's at the house while she's gardening. And so come to find out, Julian was a classmate of Hallie's back in school days, and so of course Hallie had a crush on him. And so she finds out that she still has this crush. It's like, what do I do? and ends up writing him a secret admirer letter and places it on his running trail. And so of course Julian finds these, and she's realizing that she needs to complain about the whole thing. And so it follows the two of them, and it's really cute, very wholesome. It is adult. This is an adult romance because Hallie's 29 and Julian's about like 31 or 32. And so there's just a smidge of smut. It's not like it's not smutty, but like being an older couple, there's that little bit of, just a little bit of smut, which was nice. This was another, it was a classic romance that I didn't really get the feelings in this one like I did in Better Than the Movies. And so it's kind of why the rating's a little lower, is just because I mean, it was cute and good. I didn't get all of the same feelings. And to finish the month off, I read / currently reading, I literally, like, I'm almost done, is This Spells Love by Kate Robb. This, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm still kind of rating it like a 4-star. This is really cute. This is following our main girl, Gemma, who she's just broke up with her boyfriend of 4 years. She's in the heat of the breakup. And so they decide it's her sister, her aunt, and her best friend Dax all get together and just to have an evening of not thinking about the ex. And so her aunt ends up finding this spell that to erase love. Well, not erase love, but it's like a love cleanse to help Gemma forget about her ex. And so the spell ends up working. She then finds herself in this alternate reality, and her best friend Dax does not know her. And so then she has to go through the process of reconnecting with Dax. It's kind of like a friends to lovers without the friend knowing that he's actually a friend. And so she's dealing with like the differences between her two realities, as well as trying to learn Dax, know Dax, gather a relationship with Dax, because the only way to go back is to get a kiss from Dax. And so she has to form a relationship with him. And of course, because of the fact that he was a friend of hers in her original reality, that she's now figuring out that she actually does have feelings for Dax. And it's really cute. Like I said, I'm almost done, and I plan to finish it soon. And this is like a good heartfelt read. Those are all of the books that I have read in the month of March. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I would like to know what was your guys' favorite read of March, and what are you excited to read for April? I know I did my April TBR a few weeks ago, if you saw, and so I am most excited for 2. I want to finish House of Flame and Shadow, and I want to read the newest release from Eliza Reign called Of Blades and Wings. So I think those 2 are my most anticipated reads for the month of April. So again, hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day, week, time, whatever you may need. Take the time to rest up and enjoy whatever it is that you do for joy. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.